Hi, this is Esther Lynn for MMAfighting.com. Here are some of my favorite photos from UFC 157. Fans filled the UFC gym in Torrance to welcome Ronda Rousey and Liz Carmouche to the UFC. There was a genuine warmth and excitement among the crowd. Ronda dove in, doing her best to autograph as many items as she could. With all the media obligations, neither Rousey or Carmouche would show any weariness. Both were all smiles, happy to be just days away from their fight. Liz Carmouche's last two fights were won in front of a modest crowd of 1,500 people. Here's Liz, soaking up the limelight, beaming in the center of the largest scrum she's ever been a part of. Carmouche is handling the sudden increase in attention so well, she's glowing. After Rousey and Carmouche faced off, they instinctively faced toward the crowd, as they'd always done in Strikeforce. I was thrilled. I always wished UFC fighters would turn to face the audience after facing off. It was also a point of pride for me, since both came from Strikeforce, as did I. It was bittersweet to see the promotion shuttered, but I was more proud to see the fighters succeed in this giant way, headlining a pay-per-view. After a week of media madness, Fight Night is here. Nashawn Burrell and Yuri Villafort bring an action-packed start to what would be an up-and-down night of fights. I might enjoy this photo solely for its face-smashing properties. There weren't many people in the arena at this point, but the few that were must have been glad they were in their seats so early. What a wild fight. I'm glad Herb Dean didn't stop the fight after Matt Grice knocked down Bermudez, because we would have been deprived of 2 more rounds of non-stop action. Bermudez hit Grice so hard here, Grice's head continues to ripple as Bermudez's fist moves away. Robbie Lawler smiles as he paces the cage in his return to the UFC. Lawler spent 9 years outside the UFC since UFC 50, the War of '04, and he couldn't be happier to be here. Many fighters spend those few minutes before their bouts scowling across the octagon, but there's a certain focus in Robbie's joy. There's such delightful anticipation of the violence to come. Uriah Faber proves he's still a top contender by literally climbing Ivan Menjivar's back and sinking in this choke. Faber celebrates with the body triangle on Menjivar intact. I'm torn between finding it disrespectful and amusing. At the same time, it's a fight, and Faber won so impressively here in his home state. You can't fault him for soaking in the roar of the Honda Center. Lyoto Machida is difficult to photograph for the same reasons he is difficult to fight. Machida feints so much, I feel as if I need to shoot every movement in case it becomes that famous front kick to the face. But after a round, I eased into it, knowing Machida would only counter Henderson's sparse aggression. As Liz Carmouche and Ronda Rousey walked toward the cage, I felt my eyes well up, my heart raced. Ronda Rousey has one of the best walkout songs. Joan Jett's long been a favorite of mine, and hearing Bad Reputation this loud, everything so loud, I forgot I was wearing earplugs. This is the moment we knew the fans weren't just there for Ronda Rousey, they were there to watch an amazing fight. As Liz Carmouche looked for the upset, the arena shook. The cheers boiled to the brim. Rousey's face turned completely sideways. Her jaw twisted so hard her teeth were pressing into Carmouche's arm. I was too engrossed to zoom out, not wanting to get any farther from the action. But Ronda Rousey kept her composure and found herself here again, fighting to the last few seconds of that first round, adjusting and reworking until she had a firm grip on Carmouche's arm and took it home. This is the moment as Carmouche is no longer able to fend off Rousey. When Rousey stood up after finishing the armbar, she immediately fixed her top and shorts, expletives flying out in utter relief to have come through her first UFC title defense, still the UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion. I don't know if anyone else heard her outside of us around the cage, as the roar in the arena was deafening. I do love my job for these moments, having the best seat in the house, and being so close to the manifold emotions of fighting. The elation, exuberance of winning after the long press tour, hard training, years of near invisibility despite her Olympic achievements. I love that Liz Carmouche is congratulating Ronda Rousey too, in the foreground. And I love just such pure, full happiness. Liz Carmouche shows Ronda Rousey the bite marks on her arm. Carmouche looks proud. Rousey looks genuinely amazed, stunned at the evidence of their battle. There's always been a lovely camaraderie in MMA. For the most part, the fighters share wounds and stories and embrace after wild fights. A little moment after posing for the press. After the media got their shots of the main event and Dana White, who rarely grins this joyfully after a long night of fights and a press conference, the president of the UFC gave both Carmouche and Rousey a squeeze, such a brief yet candid declaration of his contentment and pride. There was such an infectious, uplifting air about Rousey versus Carmouche. I'm proud to have been witness to this moment in history, to have shot many of the most iconic women's bouts throughout my career, and to keep being part of the key moments in this sport of fighting. This is Esther Lynn for MMAfighting.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in Montreal.